Hi guys, as you can see, I'm right now having a little bit of my Halloween blues because Halloween is over. Oh, and now we're gonna go with freaking Thanksgiving and freaking Christmas. Oh, those, uh, those holidays suck. And not really, it was just playing around. But yeah, Halloween is over, as you can see. But so it took me a while, of course, to finally go watch the next entry of this our movies this week, and that is none other than Terminator: Dark Fate. Yeah, I have been doing a lot of things, so I'm sorry if this review came out a little bit too late. But well, I think it is. It does help out to watch it and become the nerdy guy who likes to go into almost every pop culture thing that you go to. Because while I'm not exactly 100% fond of the Terminator, I do have some good things to tell you about it. Because the thing is that I grew up at least with Terminator 2. I had it on a VHS, and I remember watching it over and over and over and over again. I kind of remember that, yeah, during the time, it was really spectacular to see the special effects that it has, because this is something so special that it's going to be hard to replicate, especially with the time that we are now with the CGI era and all this stuff. So basically, this is how I was introduced to the Terminator franchise. I was never, the kind of guy who'd say that, no, this shouldn't turn into a franchise or something like that. Because, well, I just kind of like the robots and all this stuff. I mean, I was even the guy who actually kind of, once in a while, liked to play RoboCop versus Terminator. Yeah, there was a video game like that. And then the string of movies came out when I began to watch movies in the movie theater. To be honest, I never saw the first Terminator. Not even to this day. What is wrong with me? I saw Terminator 3, which I thought it was meh. I thought it was okay. I had a lot of fun. I liked Terminator Salvation in one way or another because it felt kind of different. Because Terminator Salvation, at least to the benefit of the doubt, it takes place in the future instead of, going back to the past like the other Terminators do. Terminator Genesis, I think a lot of people had a lot of slack on it. I can see why. I can see exactly why. Although I had fun with it, mostly because I am kind of like the kind of guy who kind of forgives Schwarzenegger. Because even in the bad roles or good movies, Schwarzenegger is always a lot of fun to watch. And now we got Terminator Dark Fate, which I've been hearing that it has certain mixed feelings out of it. Some people say that it's okay. Some people consider that it's better than Terminator Genesis. Although, to be honest, I kind of forgot. And that's basically the problem with the new Terminator movies, that it's not Terminator 2 or Terminator 1. That most of those Terminator films are being, well, forgettable in one way or another. Which I kind of understand. In this case, this time James Cameron produced it, and I think it was directed by, who wrote the movie? Hold on, I think Tim Miller. The director is Tim Miller this time. Yeah, the guy who brought us Deadpool. What do I just went to the movie theater after Halloween, and what are my thoughts about it? Well, this movie is fated to become kind of like a really, really forgettable failure compared to the others. Yep. I thought it was okay. I just kind of wasted 2 hours, 30 minutes, just trying to retcon the Terminator thing. It's basically kind of like a copy-paste Terminator 2, but in another way. and it's still as forgettable as the other movies. But as forgettable as these movies, Dark Fate is, at least for the benefit of the doubt, there are two things that we're not gonna forget, which is none other than the return of Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger as their respective roles, reprising the roles from the Terminator 2s and the other movies, of course. But this is another one of those movies that it tries to become a franchise, and they wanted to build up a new generation of characters in order to pass up the torch and everything. I think this is kind of like a trend that is happening with lots of the older movies right now. Like, for example, they're always gonna say that, okay, now we're gonna reboot the franchise. We're gonna have, you know, the old cast, the old characters now in their middle age or they're old, and now they're gonna pass the torch to the younger generation, whether you like it or not. I mean, it's kind of like what Star Wars is doing right now. And Terminator Dark Fate is technically let's say that is no exception, which I have my pros and my cons about this, but this is kind of like a topic far apart. So what do we got this time in Dark Fate? Well, for people who don't know about Terminator, is basically kind of like the story that machines take over the world, they become sentient, they destroy everything, humanity is at war with the machines, but they're losing the battle, and basically their only hope is that keep up the resistance. But unfortunately, the machines that they created, that time machine, in order to kill off the leaders of the resistance. In the case of the first movies, of course, that leader of the resistance is a kid named John Connor. And of course, because humans know about the technology of the Terminator, they also can send people back in time to stop them, of course, to save in this case this kid named John Connor. Or in this case, or in the case of the first and the second movie, more specifically, the mother of John Connor, which is this woman named Sarah Connor. That's basically it. So what did they do on Dark Fate? All is thrown into the window because after many years of trying to save John Connor or Sarah Connor, what happens? They kill off John Connor. I wish I could say spoiler alert, but you know what? I don't care. Many people have been watching the movie lately, but yeah, John Connor gets killed, so no hope for humanity, isn't it? No, because this time the movie takes place in Mexico, in which apparently this woman appears, this woman named Grace. She's played by Mackenzie Davis. She's a cyborg, and she also comes from the future, and she goes to the present time in Mexico. Oh man, lately we're gonna have a lot of movies taking place in Mexico. And I mean, first was Rambo, and now this. But of course, she came from the future to save this girl, this Mexican girl named Daniela Ramos, or Danny, who she's played by what was her name, Natalia Reyes. Because the Terminator from the future, they also sent a killing set Terminator. What was his name again? Oh my god, I'm looking at it's a Ref 9, played by Gabriel Luna. Gabriel Luna. And basically, yeah, it's the Terminator formula. Protect a civilian who's going to be important for the future from a killing machine. And in this case, Grace, there are some things that they try to make it a little bit fresh. For example, we got a female protagonist. We got a Mexican protagonist. We got Grace, who is none other. She's not only human, but she's an augmented human. She's a cyborg. And then, of course, when things go down, they're saved by none other than an older Sarah Connor, who has her bitter past in that she lost John Connor and now she's technically a Terminator hunter. And by the way, yes, it's Linda Hamilton reprising her role from the first 2 Terminator movies. And basically then it kind of became a road trip movie that it involves, these 3 women trying to survive the Terminator. So where's Schwarzenegger, you might ask? Don't worry. He was the Terminator who killed off John Connor. And second, he finally makes an upstanding appearance an hour and a half later. So you're gonna have the last 45 minutes or so that you're gonna see our big man himself. Yeah, by the way, this movie lasts 2 hours 30 minutes, or I think it was 2 hours. Yes, 2 hours 30 minutes. Good luck keeping yourself awake. So anyway, how the characters are. I thought they're okay. They're not as exactly memorable, like I've been hearing many people say. First of all, Grace comes off as a little bit too pushy on her agenda, I'll say. She is a character who basically kind of acts too much like an overprotective mother, which in a way it can be really, really, really nagging. And I've been hearing people that they don't like her. They don't like her attitude. They don't like her distrustfulness towards almost anything. I can see why. Although I've seen kind of like worse overprotective characters. Then there's also the character of Dani Ramos. I think that she could have been kind of like a stronger character, but she comes up. I don't know. Her acting is it's okay. I'll say it's just that there is kind of like nothing remarkable. Although they do wanted to make her like saying, okay, this girl is technically not a remarkable character, but then she has to stand up because she's gonna be important in the future. And she does. I say that I do kind of like her arc. I'll say the character arc in which basically she's a normal girl. And she loves her brother. She loves her father, and the dog named Taco. And of course, everything goes to shit when the Terminator came. So that gives her a little bit of an incentive, but it takes a while to make her develop some kind of character. It'll keep you kind of guessing and guessing, but so much that the whole movie, it kind of puts her aside for a long time that it doesn't feel like development, and that is until we finally get to that. And it could have been strong, but no, I think that they need a little bit more polish on the characters. But the only new character that actually is technically amazing is none other than Gabriel Luna as the new Terminator. And by the way, here's the thing, because they wanted to add a more, how can I say, more like a new generation thing to the franchise. They begin to specifically say that this time it's not Skynet, the one who built the machines. This time it was taken over by another company called Legion. You know, with a name like Skynet and a name like Legion, it's kind of like naming your company Satan. That's what I think. But let it be said that they still show to be a threat. This time we got a Terminator that, again, it's called Red 9, that is basically kind of like an upgrade of the main villain from the Terminator 2, because I kind of forgot the name. I know that is played by Patrick Stewart. But the thing is this: instead of just being liquid metal all over the body, it has that technology, but this time the liquid metal is basically kind of like a living coat from an exoskeleton, and it can detach itself from the robot body and act on its own. And yeah, it has the liquid metal. How can I say, attributes when it's merged. But that's basically kind of like double trouble. And the good thing also is that Gabriel Luna, when he is transforming into all the people that it touches or / kills, and trying to sneak out with other people, he sounds a little bit more natural compared to I think the Patrick Stewart one, which kind of sounds a little bit more robotic. But man, that he can fool anyone, and he's kind of like a big, kind of like a good threat for that. So next we got, of course, the Sarah Connor, who she appears into the movie, kind of helping the other character, saying that she got intel about it. She is hunting Terminators, and she is dealing with the past that she failed to protect John Connor. I can see people are getting pissed that John Connor was killed. I kind of got interested about it. And of course, we gotta talk about the best part of all the Terminator movie, which is none other than Schwarzenegger himself. Schwarzenegger is none other than this, the Terminator that killed John Connor. Then he disappears almost during the whole movie, and it is revealed that he was the one who gave the intel to to Sarah Connor and the others. And then they build up kind of like a frenemy between Sarah and of course Schwarzenegger, because Schwarzenegger, here's the thing, he was from the future, but then he couldn't go back to the future, but so he just moved into Texas, and then he built a family. He built a family with a woman and a kid. They say that they agree for a non-consensual relationship. So probably the kid is adopted. And he of course makes tapestry. He is kind of like a tapestry shop owner with the name of Carl. And apparently, ever since he killed John Connor and he built a family, he begins to understand and begins to learn empathy and all this stuff. Movie? This is a better story compared to what we're getting to. We want to know more about that Terminator. A Terminator that is, in lack of better words, having a heart. Give us that. That sounds a little bit more original than a little bit of a rehash of Terminator 2. Wow. Oh yeah, and by the way, Schwarzenegger, despite his age and all this stuff, he's still buff. He still kicks ass. He still gives us corny lines. He still has this Austrian accent. And you know what? These are the things that why he is so memorable. Because no matter what shit you put him in or whatever he does, there is some kind of charisma that this man gave us. So at least I'll give it that. Okay, let's go with the cinematography now. It's uneven, I'll say, because here's the thing. The movie it feels like those typical road trips movie. First come action, in which you get excited, then we got to talking, but the talking feels a little bit dry, even though, I'm not gonna lie, I was awake enough to pay attention to some of the details. Although some of the details on the Terminators and all the stuff were a little bit cloudy for me, since I don't exactly pay attention to the lore. but of course it just planning, and then we get an actual of Gabriel Luna trying to find the characters. In this case, of course, it starts from Mexico. It starts from an automobile company. Then we got the chase scene. They go to a town. They go to a hotel. Then they say that they have to cross the border to find someone who can help them. They go to an uncle by train. They cross the border, and by the way, yes, apparently they criticize what is happening in Mexico. Yeah, because we get to the border patrols, and they're sent to jail. In the border jail where the Mexicans are in there and all this stuff. And for some reason, I was expecting to see Kyle Broflovsky there. You know, like the Mexican Joker episodes from South Park. And for some reason I wanted to kind of give myself a laugh, and I was imagining that to see all these Mexicans, and then they see Linda Hamilton and what was it, the Grace character, and they were like, oh no, they're Jews. No, they're not Jews, but I just was a little bit desperate for a laugh that it sounds like the Mexican Joker episode came to my mind. And yeah, basically that after that we get another cool action scene because yeah, that's basically the highlights of the Terminator movies. It takes a while, and then it cuts dry again, and then we finally get Schwarzenegger, and then we go back to action scenes with another cameo that I don't remember who that guy is. And then there's a little bit of a twist in which they kind of make fun of the old formula of the Terminator, like saying, let me get, you went to the past to save this girl because this girl is gonna give birth to the savior of humanity in the future. No, it's not like that. Well, they didn't tell it like that immediately. It is later that begins to say that, no, you're not gonna give birth to a man. You're gonna give birth to, you're not gonna give birth to anyone. It's you. You are the savior. Savior, more than savior, she's more like the leader of a rebellion. Although John Connor was also like that too. Look, you know what? If anyone's gonna talk about some girl power thing, this movie doesn't do that. I mean, I have my rant with Aladdin, but this one does it well, so I don't mind. But then we got more action scenes, and one thing that I do want to complain a little bit of the action scenes is that while a lot of the action scenes were really cool and really relevant, because so many people say that the good thing about the action scenes of the Terminator franchise is that it's a little bit more grounded to reality. There is one moment in which it was like, oh, come on, that couldn't happen. You know what? I'll tell you here. It involves two people that they're inside a car. The car falls into a river rapid, which is, it kind of like going to the, the dam with the waterfalls and everything. It falls into the water. The car rolls a lot underwater, might add you. And apparently the two people inside are okay. Then it takes the evil Terminator to break the glass and almost and in order for water to make them, how can I say it, to fill the car with water. And then, of course, after, fooling the Terminator in one with something that has to do with parachute, they just swim to safety. Guys, I went to the Niagara Falls last month. I watched the Rapids. I highly doubt someone will survive this. Okay, let's try to suspend my disbelief at this moment. I'm not gonna complain exactly about that. But at least you should have show us some semblance of injury in this case, at least. That's my only complaint of that action scene, at least. I think this is all I can say about Terminator Dark Fate. It's kind of like it's very much another forgettable Terminator movie that, again, it tries its best. There are some things that I can praise, of course. I'll say that I had more in. Now that I think of it, if I say this, I hope people don't kill me, please. But I think I had a little bit more fun in Genesis more than Dark Fate. I don't know why, but you know what? To be fair, I kind of forgot Genesis too. It's just that I think Schwarzenegger kind of made the last movie for me too. But Dark Fate, I can praise it enough to try, maybe try to go into kind of like an alternate universe where John Connor is dead, because it's something we now learn from Rick and Morty, is that now we have alternate universes here and there. I can understand why people kind of feel, picky on that movie, and yeah, maybe in a few hours you're gonna forget this. You're gonna forget this film. I did, except for Schwarzenegger, of course. And what else I can say? Well, not really much. To be honest, this film, I've seen very, very little people, watching it. I thought that we're gonna see a lot of people watching the film, because let's face it, it's Terminator. Terminator 1 is a popular franchise. But what happened? Why wasn't too much people involved there? But come to think of it, maybe it's because I live in I now attend to a very secluded movie theater. Next time, when there's a big movie like that, I'll try the AMC on Newark instead of the one that nearby I live in. But you know what? Now I got tired to talk about this film. I hope that the franchise doesn't meet a dark fate like this movie said. Oh yeah, now that I think about it, I think it is a good idea that the Terminator will benefit if we get a movie about the future. Let us see the future. Salvation did it, and it was fun. It was fresh. It was different. Not perfect, but at least it was something. But yeah, that's an idea, because this movie taught us fate can be changed, but we have to also learn where this fate goes.